The galaxy was in turmoil, a vast expanse torn apart by the relentless war between the United Federation of Planets, UFP, and the Zephyrians, a ruthless alien race known for their brutality and cunning. Once a beacon of hope and unity, the UFP found itself struggling to maintain control over its territories as the Zephyrians advanced, seizing planets and enslaving their inhabitants. The conflict had escalated quickly, with skirmishes erupting on the fringes of UFP space, threatening to engulf entire star systems in chaos. Reports of civilian casualties and war crimes committed by the Zephyrians circulated throughout the Federation, igniting a fierce resolve among its soldiers. Amidst this backdrop of desperation and uncertainty, Captain James Ryder emerged as a symbol of courage. His reputation for strategic brilliance and unyielding determination earned him the respect of his comrades and the fear of his enemies. James carried with him the weight of countless lives lost, a burden that fueled his commitment to the UFP and its ideals. He believed in the necessity of their fight, not just for survival, but for the preservation of freedom across the galaxy. One fateful day, while stationed aboard the UFP flagship Vanguard, James received a summons to the war room. The atmosphere was tense, filled with the sharp tang of anxiety that pervaded military operations during desperate times. As he entered, he was met by high-ranking officers, their expressions grave. It was here that he learned of Princess Alara, a key figure in the peace negotiations between the UFP and her home planet, the planet of Olindra. She had been captured during a summit that had turned into a Zephyrian ambush, her fate now uncertain and precarious. The briefing was dire. The plan was to launch a daring rescue mission to infiltrate a heavily fortified Zephyrian base on the outskirts of their territory. The stakes could not have been higher. Not only did they need to save the princess, but her rescue was vital for maintaining the fragile alliances within the galaxy. Without her, the UFP risked losing the support of Olindra, which could lead to further losses in the ongoing war. The room buzzed with the tension of impending conflict as James accepted the mission, steeling himself for what lay ahead. As preparations commenced, the atmosphere outside the Vanguard reflected the gravity of their situation. Battles raged across various planets, the distant glow of starships engaging in combat illuminating the darkness of space. Every report from the front lines underscored the desperation felt by UFP forces. Morale was at an all-time low, and resources dwindled as the war dragged on. Yet amid this chaos, James felt an undeniable sense of purpose. The mission to rescue Princess Alara was not just about one life. It symbolized hope, a beacon in the encroaching darkness. As James contemplated the challenges ahead, he couldn't shake the feeling that the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. This mission would test not only his skills as a soldier, but also the very essence of the bonds that could be forged in the fires of war. Little did he know, the encounter with Princess Alara would change the course of his life, and perhaps the fate of their worlds forever. The mission to infiltrate the Zephyrian base began under the cloak of darkness, with Captain James Ryder and his elite team of soldiers equipped with cutting-edge technology designed for covert operations. Dressed in adaptive camouflage suits that blended seamlessly with their surroundings, they boarded a stealth shuttle. The ship's hull hummed softly, shielded from detection by Zephyrian radar. Each soldier carried high-tech weaponry, plasma rifles, energy grenades, and tactical drones that had been specifically calibrated for this operation. James reviewed the mission brief one last time, mentally preparing for the task ahead. As the shuttle glided silently over the base, James's heart raced. Below, the sprawling complex was heavily fortified, with guard towers and energy shields creating an imposing barrier. They touched down in a secluded area, and with silent precision, the team deployed into the shadows. The air was tense with anticipation as they navigated through the winding passages of the base, carefully avoiding patrols and automated sentinels. Suddenly, alarms blared as they encountered their first obstacle, a laser grid protecting a critical access point. With practiced ease, James directed a drone to disable the grid, allowing the team to slip through. But the Zephyrians were cunning. Traps awaited them, at every turn. A corridor ahead erupted in flames as a hidden bomb detonated, forcing them to roll for cover. The team rallied quickly, returning fire against a squad of Zephyrian soldiers who had been alerted to their presence. Blaster bolts illuminated the darkened halls as the soldiers fought their way through, adrenaline fueling their resolve. Finally, they reached the heart of the base, the high-security wing where Princess Alara was being held. As James breached the heavy door, the scene before him was stark. A sterile, cold room illuminated by harsh fluorescent lights. There, behind energy bars, stood Alara, dressed in a tattered gown, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. Who are you?" she stammered, backing away instinctively as James stepped forward. "Captain James Ryder, United Federation of Planets," he replied, his voice steady. "I'm here to rescue you." Alara's initial fear gave way to a glimmer of hope. "You came for me?" she whispered, her voice trembling. As James deactivated the energy field trapping her, her expression shifted to one of gratitude. "I thought I would never escape this place. Thank you for your bravery." James felt a spark of connection as he met her gaze, an unspoken bond beginning to form. "We have to move. They'll be here any moment," he urged, motioning for her to follow him. With Alara now safely by his side, the team began their escape. However, just as they reached the main corridor, a thunderous alarm echoed through the base, accompanied by the sound of boots pounding against the metal floors. Zephyrian soldiers were hot on their heels. "Go! I'll cover you!" James shouted as he turned to face their pursuers. The team sprinted down the corridor, Alara staying close to James, her trust in him growing as they maneuvered through the chaos. As they dodged enemy fire, James and Alara shared quick glimpses of their lives. James spoke of his childhood dreams of space exploration, while Alara recounted tales of her royal duties and the burdens of her position. These brief exchanges revealed their vulnerabilities, forging a deeper connection amid the adrenaline-fueled chaos. The climax of their escape arrived when a Zephyrian soldier cornered them, blocking their path to freedom. James reacted instinctively, drawing his plasma rifle and firing just as the soldier lunged at Alara. The blast struck true, but not without a near miss that sent a shiver of fear through James. "I won't let anything happen to you," he vowed, turning to Alara as they rushed through the final doorway and onto the landing pad outside. Their escape was a whirlwind of emotions, a mixture of relief and exhilaration. As they boarded the shuttle and took off into the vastness of space, the gravity of their situation settled in. James and Alara had not only escaped, but had begun to forge a bond that transcended the boundaries of their worlds, one that would change the course of their lives forever. As the stealth shuttle glided into the docking bay of the UFP's command ship, Vanguard, a wave of relief washed over Captain James Ryder and Princess Alara. They had made it back, against all odds, and were greeted by a chorus of cheers and applause from fellow soldiers and officers who had gathered to celebrate their successful rescue. The tension and uncertainty of their escape faded, replaced by the camaraderie of shared victory. Yet, beneath the surface of joy, there lingered an undercurrent of tension. As James and Alara stepped out of the shuttle, some soldiers eyed the princess warily. Alara's royal status made her an outsider among the battle-hardened crew, who viewed her presence with a mix of awe and suspicion. Whispers circulated, doubts about the implications of a princess mingling with the ranks of the UFP soldiers. Sensing the unease, James stepped protectively beside Alara, his voice firm. "She just risked her life to help us," he declared, addressing the murmurs. "We are on the same side, fighting for the same cause. She deserves our respect." His defense of Alara broke the tension, earning him nods of understanding from some soldiers, though others remained skeptical. In the days that followed, as they settled back into the rhythms of life aboard the Vanguard, James sought to learn more about Alara's world. They began to spend time together in the command center, discussing not just the war, but the cultures from which they came. Over cups of synthesized coffee, Alara shared stories of her home planet, Olindra, a vibrant world rich with ancient traditions and customs that had shaped her upbringing. As a princess, My role is not only to lead, but to preserve our heritage. We celebrate the Unity Festival, a time when our people come together to honor our ancestors and renew our commitment to peace, she explained, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. James listened intently, fascinated by the beauty of her culture. In turn, he opened up about Earth's customs, the military traditions that governed his life, and the shared values of bravery and sacrifice that resonated across both their worlds. They discussed the harsh realities of war, the lives lost and the devastation left in its wake, revealing their hopes for a future where such conflicts would be mere memories. As they delved deeper into their conversations, a palpable connection began to form. Quiet moments lingered between them, charged with unspoken feelings that neither dared to voice. During one evening, as they stargazed from the observation deck, James caught Ilara's gaze lingering on him. The tension was thick, and he felt a stirring within him, a desire to bridge the gap that separated their worlds. However, the idyllic moments were soon overshadowed by the realities of their positions. Ilara's advisors, upon her return, began pressuring her to consider a marriage alliance with another royal to strengthen Olindra's position within the Federation. You need to think about the future of our people, Ilara, her chief advisor insisted, emphasizing the necessity of political maneuvering in a time of war. Simultaneously, whispers among James's superiors grew louder regarding his close association with Ilara. Some questioned the wisdom of a soldier forming a bond with a member of the royal family, viewing it as a potential liability in the eyes of the UFP command. James felt the mounting pressure from all sides, caught between his burgeoning feelings for Ilara and the political ramifications of their connection. The tension in the air grew thicker as they navigated their feelings amidst the pressures of duty and expectation. Both James and Ilara found themselves grappling with the complexities of their relationship, aware that the stakes were higher than personal affection. Their bond had the potential to unite their worlds, but could it withstand the forces working against them? As they faced these challenges together, they began to understand that their love would not only require courage, but also the resolve to fight for their future amidst a backdrop of uncertainty and conflict. The atmosphere in the Vanguard was charged with anticipation as Captain James Ryder and Princess Ilara strolled through the observation deck, overlooking the stars that twinkled like distant promises. After weeks of collaboration, planning, and overcoming their respective challenges, a sense of familiarity had developed between them. On this particular evening, however, a deeper emotion stirred in Ilara's heart. "I owe you so much, James," she began, her voice soft yet earnest. "You saved my life when all hope seemed lost. I've seen the courage and strength you embody, not just as a soldier, but as a person who cares deeply for others. It has inspired me." Her words hung in the air, thick with unspoken feelings. "But it's more than gratitude," she continued, her gaze locking onto his with an intensity that made his heart race. "I see a future where our worlds could unite, not just in alliance, but in true partnership. If we were to marry, it would symbolize the unity between our peoples, a move toward peace amidst this senseless war." James's breath caught in his throat, her unexpected proposal leaving him momentarily speechless. The weight of her words crashed over him like a tidal wave. Marrying a princess? It was both a dream and a nightmare. On one hand, the prospect of such an alliance excited him. On the other, the implications were overwhelming. He hesitated, caught between the personal feelings that had blossomed between them and the political ramifications of such a union. I don't know," he stammered, his mind racing. "This is a lot to take in, Ilara. What about your responsibilities? What would your people say?" "I'm willing to fight for what's right," she replied resolutely, a fire igniting in her eyes. "But I need you by my side. Together, we can bridge the gap between our worlds and fight for a future where peace is not just a distant dream. You understand the struggles of war, and you know how to inspire hope." In the days that followed, James found himself wrestling with his emotions. The internal conflict consumed him. Could he balance his love for Ilara with the expectations and duties he had toward his comrades and the UFB? Their connection felt profound, but the path ahead was fraught with obstacles. Eventually, they decided to take action together. Sitting in the war room, surrounded by maps and holographic displays, they began to devise a plan to present their union to both the UFP and Alera's home planet. James suggested they hold a joint summit where both parties could express their support openly. Alera enthusiastically agreed, and they worked diligently, crafting speeches that highlighted the shared values of their peoples. The day of the summit arrived, and as they stood before representatives from both worlds, James felt a surge of determination. Alera spoke passionately about their dreams of unity, while James echoed her sentiments, emphasizing the importance of collaboration in times of strife. They faced skepticism and resistance, but together they countered every doubt with logic and emotion, sharing their personal stories and the bond they had forged against the backdrop of war. As the summit concluded, James felt a shift in the atmosphere. The representatives, once divided, began to see the potential for a new alliance. He could feel the weight of history shifting as they engaged in discussions about treaties and collaborations, realizing that their love could indeed pave the way for peace. In the quiet moments following the summit, away from prying eyes, James took Alera's hands in his. "I accept your proposal," he declared, emotion choking his voice. "Together, we will fight for our love and the future of our worlds." A bright smile spread across Alera's face, her joy illuminating the dark corners of uncertainty that had loomed over them. As they embraced, James felt a newfound resolve. Their union was more than a marriage. It symbolized a hope that transcended boundaries, cultures, and even the chaos of war. With Alera by his side, he believed they could inspire a new era of peace, one where love truly conquered all, leading both their peoples toward a brighter future.